what's going on? Seth here from RE Tipster. And in this video, I'm going to do a review on a website creation service called Carrot. So Carrot was one of the pioneers several years ago now that made it really easy for real estate investors, real estate agents, and a lot of different professionals in the real estate industry to create websites with a paid subscription service. The alternative to going with something like Carrot is to create your own WordPress website where you have to go and buy your own domain name and hosting it and get a WordPress theme and then monkey around with it and add whatever plugins and forms you want to it. It can totally be done, and it's not that expensive to do it, but it's kind of hard, especially if you don't know anything about developing websites. And a service like Carrot kind of brings a lot of that stuff together for you so that there's not a whole lot of things you can mess up. It's kind of just ready to go. You can move things around. You can edit the content that's already there. But aside from those basics, which it kind of walks you through, it's not a whole lot of stuff that you can mess up, and it's pretty easy to use. And if you want something that's just done for you almost, where they put the infrastructure in there and then you get in there and change things around the way you see fit, that's what Carrot is all about. But the point of this video is just to show you how Carrot works. And if you decide to sign up for this kind of website, what you can expect on the other end once you pay and get in and start using it. RE Tipster does have an affiliate link to Carrot, and I'm going to have that beneath this video if you want to check it out. But yeah, I'll just get in as if I was a normal paying customer, and you can see what it looks like on the other end. All you have to do is go up here and click on pricing, and it will show you the different pricing options that they have available. Now, pricing is something that also changes from time to time. So again, that may be different depending on when you're watching this. You really just have to decide whether you want to start off with one or two websites. So I have one website for the buying side of my business and another separate website with a different brand and different logo and different name for the selling side of my business. So what I would do if I was starting from scratch is I would probably go with this one. So as you can see, there is a difference in price. You do get a better deal if you go with this Content Pro option, and you'll get an even better deal if you sign up for annual billing. So I'm not actually setting this up long-term for myself. This is more of just a demo to show you what it's like. So I'm going to go with this one right here, the Content Pro. So we'll click on this one here, and we'll go through this checkout process. Go ahead and fill in my information right here. And then I'll click place order here. So I'm going to go ahead and pick a username and password. Alrighty, first steps for your new account. Launch your first site, choose the type of leads you're after, click launch, and it's up. Seems easy enough. Getting leads is a process, and we'll walk you through some steps to get the most out of your Carrot sites. Leverage our training and get creative to drive people to your sites. So I guess this is one thing I'll point out right away. If you were creating your own WordPress site with like Bluehost or HostGator or something like that, that would certainly save you money over the long term, but you are completely on your own, not only with customizing your website, but also like figuring out, how do I get people to actually come here? And I don't know yet how effective all this stuff is going to be that we can learn from Carrot, but it's already way more than what you would get if you were going it alone and not using this kind of service. We're here for you with support and training. Another big plus for using something like Carrot is that you can actually reach out to somebody and get help as part of the price of admission. And then let's see here, how to generate 3 leads per day. I'm going to skip this for now. Continue setting up my account. A couple of questions for your Carrot profile. So we have to put in the city where we are at. So depending on what kind of business you have, if you're like a house flipper or a house rehabber or a house wholesaler, this is totally irrelevant because you're probably going to be working specifically in one maybe city or county or maybe even a few different counties. If you're a land investor like me, this may not be as useful. A lot of times land investors will work all over the country, not necessarily in one specific market. So just keep that in mind, whatever kind of real estate business you've got. So I'm going to put in just my hometown and state and zip code. I'll just go through the motions and keep moving on to the next step. Okay, and then how much investing experience do you have? We'll go with this one. And then how hands-on would you prefer to be with your online marketing? This is kind of a matter of, I guess, how much you care about promoting your website and tuning up the SEO and getting organic traffic and ads and all that kind of stuff if you want to. And then if you do want to do that, do you want to do that yourself or do you want somebody else to help you? In my case, I'm going to say I already know how to do my own. And then what's your main focus right now for your business? So hey, look at that. They've got an option for land investing. Go ahead and click next. And then are you also a real estate agent? No, I am not. It's another thing just to keep in mind is that Carrot can be used if you are a realtor or real estate agent as your main website. It's not just for real estate investors. Submit, saving our progress. Okay, so let's create your first website. Sites for land investing, attract rent-to-own tenants or buyers, build overall company credibility. If you're a mobile home seller, that would be another potential use here. Attracting motivated house sellers, attracting owner finance buyer prospects, attract cash buyers and list properties. So again, if you just want to build your list of cash buyers so it's a lot easier to sell your properties, it could be used for that as well. Attract note sellers, showcase notes for sale. Interesting. It's kind of cool that they have a lot of these different investor profiles you can choose from. So self-select, decide whatever you are and pick whichever one you're most interested in. For the purpose of this video tutorial, I'm going to do this one, attracting vacant land sellers. I believe this is what I would refer to as a buying website. Go ahead and preview this thing and just get a look at how it's going to look. Okay, so that's how it would look like on a laptop or a phone. See some other pictures here. That's another thing, as we'll see, it's really easy to customize these websites to a point. You can't make them like hyper unique, but I'll show you as we go through this how you can adjust things to make it look a little bit more unique if you want to. And you can see other different ways it can look. So get the idea. So I'm going to just call this Summit Properties. We'll go ahead and create the site. Got to wait for a minute here for this all to work. Let's dive into your site and we'll show you how to capitalize on all of these advantages. Let's see what we got so far. So it looks like this is website number 1. Let's see. Let's click on content. Let's see what that shows us. So if you've ever used a WordPress website, this might look kind of familiar, just the way this is all laid out. It's because it basically is a WordPress website, but there's certain parameters that it just kind of sticks you with so that you can't get too lost, and a lot of stuff is just already there for you. So let's see here. Let's go up here and click on this drop down, click on Summit Properties and go and view the site just to see what does this thing even look like right now. Okay, so I have not done anything yet, and you can see all this information is already here. We've got a form where people can sign up right here and get started with submitting their property information to get our cash offer, which is pretty much the whole point behind this kind of site. Is it's supposed to save you time so that when you send out direct mail or text marketing or whatever you're trying to send out to people to ask them to respond to you to sell their property, one way they could do that is to call you and talk to you, but another way that will save you a whole lot of time, if they will do it, is to go to your website and just fill out the information there and answer all the questions that you would normally ask them on the phone anyway. And one downside to, either forcing your people to do it this way or just steering them in this direction is that you're not able to like build up any rapport with the person. And that does matter sometimes, especially if you're working in a competitive market where that person is getting other offers from other people. There's definitely some social equity that goes into actually talking to the person and getting to know them and their situation. And if they just go through a website, you're not going to get that. So just be aware of that. But this is what our website looks like. And click on here to see how it works. So again, this is all pre-populated content. I would probably want to get in here and like reword some of this stuff just so that it's not a carbon copy of every other Carrot site out there. It's probably fine to leave some of it as it is, but I would try to change at least some of it to make it unique. Testimonials. So as you get testimonials, you can put those here. FAQ section. This is a very common thing that most land websites can and probably should have. And then a contact us page where people can fill out this form and contact you. And your contact info will just kind of be here by default where people can reach out to you that way. So that's it in a nutshell. Now, if we want to start changing any of this stuff, so go back up here and click on this drop down, Summit Properties, go back to the dashboard. All right, so once we're here on the dashboard, there's all kinds of different places we can go. I'm gonna go over here and just click on settings. And settings is where we can change and update all of the site-wide information that's shown. For example, our phone number or our business name or tagline or anything like that. This is where we could go and update that. So for example, if I wanted to change my phone number, I could do that here. And we could change the stuff that shows up here in our footer. So for example, if we go and view the live site, what this is referring to is this right down here. So that's where we could change that. And that footer does appear on every page on the site that you click on. And over here in the social tab, so if we have existing social media pages or channels or profiles or whatever, you can put all that stuff here. So just for example, I'll put Facebook URL here and a YouTube one here, and we'll put Instagram here just to show some examples, and we'll see what happens on the live site once this is saved and updated. So now when we scroll down, we can see this stuff right here. We can click on this and it will take us to our respective social media page. So now we can go over here and click custom domain. So once you do have a domain name, and I get all my domain names through Namecheap, it looks like Carrot recommends that as well. RE Tipster does have an affiliate link to Namecheap. If you haven't already gotten your domain name, you can feel free to click through that and support us. I'll have that link beneath this video where you can go check out retipster.com/Namecheap. That's a great place to get domain names. And once you do have it there, you can update it so that the information points to your website at Carrot. And this gives you instructions on how to do that. That's kind of a separate topic. Go over here to analytics and scripts. So if you don't already have Google Analytics, that's something you'll probably want to get set up. It's free. It's an awesome tool just to kind of help monitor the traffic come to your site, where it's coming from, what pages they're going to, how long they're on your site, all that stuff. So once you have your Google Analytics tracking ID, you can paste that in here or delete site. Probably don't want to do that just yet. So I'm going to go ahead and skip over that. Now, if we go over here to design, let's check out that next. So this is where you can go to update all the colors, the logo, a lot of stuff throughout your website. So let's just quick go through some of the stuff and I'll show you what I mean. So branding, right off the bat, if you do have a logo, you can go and upload that right here where it says primary logo, and that will show up right here. It would replace this Summit Properties text that you see here, or you could click one of these things and it will add a little icon image to the text, which kind of makes it look like a logo. Not quite the same thing as getting a real dedicated logo, but you know, it's a good happy medium if you just don't have time or don't want to mess with that. Unfortunately, it looks like all of these are geared more towards house businesses, which is, in all fairness, that's what most real estate investors are. If you're a land investor like me, you would probably have to create your own thing with like a leaf or a tree or a mountain or something like that to make more sense as an actual land business. You can also update what they call a favicon right here. And this is like a tiny little image that shows up way up at the top in the tab in Chrome, just so that people can kind of see it. Tiny little version of your logo when they're looking at all the tabs. So that's how you do that stuff. And by the way, if you guys do need a logo, if that's important to you and you're not sure where to go about doing that, got a couple different blog posts and video reviews explaining a couple different places you can go to do that. One of them is 99 Designs, which is not free, but it's not terribly expensive. Or you could also go to Canva, which can be free, or you can also sign up for a less expensive paid plan. Both options can be used to get you a very solid logo. So I'm going to include links to both of those beneath this video as well if you want to check those out, and you might find that useful as well. Now, if we go here to header, what this is referring to is this text right here. It currently says call us, and that's fine. We could make it say phone, or we could just have nothing there. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. We'll do that. And the social icons, we can check this enabled thing, and now it just added our social profiles right there, the ones that we just added about a minute ago. Kind of feel like that clutters up the header up there, so I'm going to disable those since they're already down at the footer anyway, but it's up to you. Menus. So this right here is referring to these things right here that show up in the navigation menu. And that's what you see right here in main navigation. So for example, if we were to move this up here, you would see now how it works just moved over there to the left. So you can order this around however you want. And if you click this drop down, you can also rename this to whatever you want it to be. So you can see it just changed to questions there because I changed that. And let's see, what else? There's also something called a footer menu that you can have if you want, which would be way down here at the bottom if you check that, and that would add this right down here. If we remove that, now you can see that footer menu is gone. So it's up to you. I kind of like having a footer menu, so I'm going to check it in this case. Go back here. Go back again. Now, colors. So this is one really easy way to change the colors that looks a little bit different from any other Carrot websites out there. One helpful website for this is this one called Coolers. And you can start this generator and it will basically just give you a bunch of different color combinations. And you can change them up just by hitting the space bar. Whenever you see a color that you like, you can just lock that in place by hitting this lock button and then keep hitting it, and you'll notice that this one that I just locked is staying the same. And now it's showing me other colors that could go with this one. And you just keep going and going and going until you see one that you like, and then you can lock in those again. So let's say I want to lock in the second one. Keep going. Let's lock in this one now too. Keep going. You get the idea. But the whole purpose of this thing is so that you can find colors that go with each other to create kind of like a brand color palette. And once you see these colors that you like, you can go and copy this thing here, which is called a hex code, and then go back over here and change this up. So let's put that hex code right in there, click enter, and now you see our button just changed right there. And I'm not saying I necessarily love that color, but the point is you could just go over here to Coolers, find colors that you do like. When you do find them, copy those hex codes and put them right in here. And it's pretty easy to change that stuff up. And since I'm going with this color in this example, I would also want to take these other ones that match and bring them over here as well. So we'll copy this, go back here, update this one. So now we see this navigation bar color just changed. And then if we go down here to fonts, so by default, it's going to be using Source Sans Pro, which is not a bad font at all. I think it actually looks pretty nice, but it is kind of a boilerplate look that a lot of other Carrot websites have. So if you wanted to change that, you could change that a little bit. Open Sans is pretty similar. Nunito, I think is how you say that. Kind of looks different. Montserrat, that's another popular font a lot of people like. You get the idea. This is where you could go to change that. You could also go here to change what the headings are. So the headings are like these bigger words and letters up there. And that can also just kind of give it a more unique look to it. So that's where you can change that stuff. And then if we go down here to homepage, by default, when you land on the homepage for this kind of website, it's going to show you what you see here. But if you did want to use your website as a blog, either as the primary purpose of your site or just like an add-on, like a way to create content and get more organic traffic come to your website, or just to offer some kind of value to the people who go to your website, you could have that homepage point to your latest blog post. You would just click this. Now you can see this is kind of like what that blog template would look like, where you have this widget over here on the right and this recent posts thing right there. If you did want to go this route, there's some other stuff you can play with here. If you go over here to the widgets section and then click on the sidebar. So these things right here are widgets and you can move them around. Say if you wanted recent posts to be at the top, you could just reorder them. And now you'll see they'll showing up in a different order. Or if you wanted to change what this form said, you could say sell your land for cash and just that's it. Once you change this and then click apply, you'll see it just changed it right there. And if you wanted to add a new widget, you could do that too. And there's all kinds of extra widgets you could add, like, you know, pictures or some kind of audio message or archives. It's kind of up to you if you want to go there or not. But just wanted to point out, if you do choose to use the blog at all, this is where you could go to change up what widgets show there. But I'm going to go back here to this homepage section and just switch this back to a static page because I kind of like that for this type of website. Down here for footer. So I think we already touched on that one. We can enable or disable those social icons from showing up at the bottom, and then equal housing logo. Let's see what happens when we enable that. Oh, looks like I just added this thing right there. So again, if you're a land investor like me, this is probably not necessary at all, but if you are dealing with houses or rental properties or that kind of thing, probably be a good thing to include in there. So I'm going to get that thing back off. So now custom CSS. So if you do know CSS or if you know somebody who knows CSS, this is basically a way to apply site-wide changes. Like say if you want your font to be different than some of the options that they give you by default, or say if you wanted to change the width of the margins or something like that, this is where you could go and really actually do a lot of different customizations, but most people don't know that and doesn't matter enough. So most people just don't really go there. If you're a coding wizard and you know how to do that stuff, this is where you could do it. And one other cool thing worth pointing out when it comes to the look and feel of your website is that if you go up here to this design, it looks like currently it's on something called Douglas. Let's see what other options we have. So it looks like there's several different themes you can choose from here. Let's take a look at a live preview of this one, the Aspen, and just see how it changes things up. So just with one click, you can see it looks quite a bit different now. Still a lot of the same content is there, but just has a different look and feel to it. Let's see now if we wanted to change this to something else. Let's take a look at this one, Hemlock. See how that looks. So this looks pretty different as well. It doesn't really have the form over to the right anymore. Now it's like right front and center. Again, a lot of the same content here. It looks like the navigation bar is up here at the top now. And this is just a really easy way to, with one click, make your website look a lot more unique than the other standard designs that are out there. Go ahead and change this again, see what else is out there. Check this one out, Mahogany. And notice these first three ones that I've clicked on, Aspen, Hemlock, and Mahogany, they all have this thing here that require the advanced marketer plan. And let's see what that costs. I think that's an extra 99 bucks a month. So if it's worth it to you, there you go. Let's check out some of these other ones that don't require that advanced marketer plan. So this one is called Cedar, and it looks pretty similar to the original one. Let's see, let's check out Juniper. See how this one looks. Okay, so it's not quite as sleek and cool as the other one that required that advanced marketer plan, but you know, it does look different. Or this one right here, the Madrone, I think is how you say that. So this looks pretty similar to the original one as well. So it looks like those 4 basic designs are all pretty similar. They don't look that different from each other. I'll switch back to the original one here, the Douglas. Oh, bummer. Looks like I just lost all those changes I had made. Let's see here if I can go back and do them again. So yeah, if I wanted to save those changes, what I should have done was click publish here, but I failed to do that. So the change I made where I changed up the color of these buttons and the navigation bar and the logo up here, I lost that. But just so you know, if you want to save that stuff, just be sure to hit publish. Next thing I wanted to show you is how you can change the actual content on these pages, like what the words say on the home page in each one of those individual pages. Pretty easy to do. All I have to do is go up here and click on content. And right here is where you can click on any of these things and it will take you to those pages. So for example, the home page, if we click on edit, it will take us right here. And all we would have to do is click on this stuff and delete it and change whatever we want it to say. So where you see this thing in brackets that says market state. So that's like a pre-populated thing that might say like Grand Rapids or Michigan or whatever market specific words you put in there. So you probably don't want to mess with this, but any of the other words you could feel free to change up. Unless, of course, you just didn't want this to say that at all, then I guess you could just go ahead and delete it. So, for example, we could say, sell your vacant land in market state and get a fair all-cash offer on your bear. I don't really love how that's worded, so I'm going to change this to say, get an all-cash offer, because usually the offers I sent are not fair market value, and I don't want to imply that they are. So, get an all-cash offer on your vacant lot today. And we'll just leave it at that. And no fees, no commissions, no hassle. We pay all closing costs. Our offers are net offers. Now over here, so you'll notice this big picture in the background. In a lot of ways, that picture is kind of like a defining image for this brand and website. And again, that's going to be baked into all Carrot websites that are doing this kind of template from the very beginning. So if you wanted to change that, this is where you could do it. You could go right down here and click on this thing. And a really good place to get royalty-free pictures that you can use for whatever purpose you want is this website called Unsplash. And all I did was type in the word land here, and it gave me a lot of good pictures of land. You can go click on landscape to see if we get something different. We can see all kinds of great options here. So I like this one. I'm going to go ahead and download that. And then we will go back here and upload that picture that I just downloaded from Unsplash. And we can wait for it to upload. Go ahead and type in land there for the alt text and then upload that. And there we go. We just changed that background image. That was pretty easy. Go down here. This is a lot of stuff that's in here, and it's in here for a reason because these words are going to give search engines something to grab hold of so that it understands, hey, if somebody is Googling the words, sell my vacant lot quick in Grand Rapids or something like that, if you have those kinds of words on your website, this is going to tell Google, hey, maybe this website is what this person is looking for. So it's good that all the stuff is in here. But again, remember, everybody who's getting this kind of website is going to have the exact same words baked into their site. So I would definitely go through here and just kind of use your head and change up stuff that you think ought to be changed. If you don't like how something is worded, change that. If you're not actually looking for agricultural land, for example, then delete that. If you're looking for commercial land, add that in there. Looks like it's right there. But just go through here and make any changes that you think are necessary. And you can even like rearrange some of this stuff. You might want to add some stuff. You might want to take some stuff away. The point is just understand you'll want to make some changes so it's not a carbon copy of every other website out there. And once you make those changes, you can click update here. You can also click this preview button and it will take you to the updated site to show you how that looks. We can see our new picture there where it says sell your vacant land in MI. So that's a good example where I might want to change that to say like Michigan, the full word, just in case somebody doesn't know what that abbreviation means. And I can do that by going over here to go back over here. Maybe it's under settings. Let's see what happens when we update this. Okay, go back here and refresh this. Okay, yep. So that's where you got to do it. You go back here to the settings and then general and then change what that says right there. And that will change what this word is. Now, if we wanted to change some of the other pages here, so about us, this is obviously something that you're going to want to change because Carrot doesn't know anything about you. They don't know your company or your name or any of that stuff. So all I have to do is update this however you want to. You can preview this at any time, just see how it looks. And the way that I'm showing you how to do this is the same way that it applies to all of these things. And I would definitely go through the time of updating these things to some extent, just to make sure it's accurate to you and your business and your market. And, it actually describes what you do. So another thing I want to show you here is how to create or edit a form on your website. And this was a really big deal for me way back in the day when I created my first buying website, because the whole purpose of this website was to allow motivated sellers to visit my site and then give me a lot of information that I was going to be asking them for anyway by filling out my form and then submitting that information to me. So it wasn't the most personal approach, but it allowed me to collect pretty much all the information I was going to need anyway without getting on the phone with them. And it saved me hundreds of hours. It was pretty awesome. So that's really the purpose of this type of website, a buying website in the land flipping business. And over here, if you go click on forms, and in this type of website, you'll find 3 pre-existing forms. The one is just a contact us form. So this is the form that you see if you go click on the live site and click on contact us. This is that form. So that's that. There's also this one right here, this get started with your cash offer below. So I believe that's the form that you see right here. So that's what they fill out. And there's also this much longer one where after they fill out this first one, you get their information and then they're sent to step 2 where they fill out this longer form with a lot more information. And I don't think you can even see that unless you go ahead and click on this and get to that next page, because I don't think it's a public form. If we get back here to pages and check this out, so it looks like you can see that right here on this page, step 2 of 2, which is this page right here. And this is that entire form. My form has a few more questions than this one does, but this will certainly give you a lot of the information you'll need just right off the bat. So if you do want to add or remove or just change up what the questions are on your form, the way you could do that is go over here and click edit. And remember, when a person lands on this form, the only reason they'll ever get here is because they already filled out this first step here. So they've already given us their name, first and last, city, state, phone number, and email. And so step 2 just jumps right into that property parcel number and then the address of that property if it has one. And then looks like it's asking for the name and phone number and email again. I guess it would just sort of connect all that information together. And then property information, so lot size, how long have you owned it, any structures on the property. So things I might be asking in addition to this are like, do you know of any utilities going to the property? How long have you owned the property? How motivated are you to sell it? How much do you think this property is worth? And that kind of thing. So if I wanted to go and add that stuff here, I could scroll down here. First of all, I guess if I wanted to rearrange any of this stuff, all I would have to do is click and hold and then just move this around and it would move the placement of where this is on the form. And then if I wanted to add more questions here, let's say if I wanted to ask, how motivated are you to sell? In that case, what I might do is add a drop-down item and I could say, how motivated are you to sell this property? And we could add a few options here. Needed this property sold yesterday. I am very motivated. Our third choice is I don't need it sold immediately. I am not very motivated. Full market value, something like that, just to give you some examples here. And we can also make this a required question or not. And if we say no duplicates, that basically just means they can't answer more than one. They have to pick one or the other, that kind of thing. If we go ahead and save this thing, if we go back to the live form here, we can see that question that we just added. Where is it? Right here. Now, when they click that, they will see these different things that they can choose like that. And that's just one of several questions that I would add to this kind of form. But whatever you do want to change about this kind of form, you just get in here. That's how you change it. Then you save the form. It's really pretty simple. It's pretty much set up and ready to go. It's just that you may need to get in here and monkey around with some of the questions. Now, another thing you can make work with this kind of website is integrations. So if you want to build an email list of some kind, you can do that here with any of these services, or with Zapier. You can hook up pretty much any email marketing service. You can also do SMS notifications. I'm not going to get into all that, but just be aware that is something that you can make work with this type of website. The only other thing that I wanted to show you, because so far we've just been talking about this in the context of a buying website, is how to set up a selling website. And with a selling website, a lot of the same stuff is going to apply in terms of how to change the content and change the look and feel of the site. But the main difference between a selling website where you're trying to list and sell your properties is that you can create property listings, which is not something that you do on this type of buying website. So if we go back over here to our main account page, we can see our one site that we have set up so far, but I had signed up for 2 websites. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my second site right now. We can see how that works. So we'll go up here to this caret way up in the upper left corner, click on that. And now it's going to allow us to add another site. And for this one, we're gonna click on attract vacant land buyers. Go ahead and preview this thing, and you can kind of see similar stuff that we saw before. You can see it kind of has a similar look and feel, but the main difference is that we're going to be able to create property listings here. So call this one Grand Land Company and create this thing. Wait just a minute for this to populate and generate that stuff. Okay, same thing we saw before. Let's go click on view my site. So Grand Land Company, that's the one we just made. Let's go click on dashboard. And if we want to just quick preview the site and see what it looks like right now, there you go. Looks like we have some nice credibility building stuff in here. A lot of pre-made content. Same kind of concept as the other type of buying website. But the main difference here is that now we can go and click on this thing that says see available land for sale. And it looks like the way this is set up by default is that we have to select what type of land we're looking for. So we'll click on buildable lots. We'll type in Grand Rapids here. So it looks like by default, this locks down that information until that person enters in their details, which is great if you're trying to build a buyer's list. This will definitely be effective at doing that, but that's also obviously going to keep some people from ever getting through because they just don't want to give you their email address. So it's up to you whether or not you want to require this or not. But if we click on this and click on show me available land, and it looks like, wow, we have to do a whole lot more stuff to see that. So it may be like this because I haven't actually added any listings yet, and I'm sure you have the ability to turn this off too. So speaking of adding listings, I'm going to go back over here to the dashboard, go and click on content, and then let's go click on properties right here. And maybe we can make this work. All right, let's go click on add new, and we'll just call this 20 acres in Kern County, California. Let's select this as a vacant land property for sale. Price, we'll do $50,000. This is not on the MLS. I'll just fill in some placeholder text here just so we can see what it looks like. Okay, now property photos. We're gonna add some photos here. Just gonna grab a few random pictures, drag a few new pictures in here. Okay, now we'll select all these things. And we also want to select a featured image to show up. So let's pick one of these. Let's go with this one here. Looks fine. And property description. So we could do the same thing here. Just put some test text in there. So a meta description. So this is kind of like for SEO purposes. You would just put a very short description in here with some keywords. Residential camping lot, or whatever keywords you want this thing to rank for. Just try to fit them in there, but it can't be too long. And this thing will kind of guide you on when it's getting too long. Yeah, let's go ahead and publish this and see what it looks like on the other end. Go ahead and click view post, and this is what our listings look like. It's nothing crazy fancy, but it gets the job done. Vertical images don't do that well on this just because Carrot doesn't know how to resize this kind of thing appropriately. So whatever images you put in there, just try to crop them or just use ones that are wide or landscape format. Kind of see what these things look like. Looks like it puts a little map in here automatically. I didn't put any coordinates or a real address in here, so it's not really going to show up. And I guess a couple things I'll just point out here. This is one example of how Carrot is really designed first and foremost for house investors and rental property owners and house flippers and wholesalers and all that stuff, because all the stuff you see here in terms of things that you can fill in is geared towards houses. It's not geared towards land. So with vacant land, things like construction type, the year built, square feet, bedrooms, bathrooms, basement, none of that stuff applies. And the stuff that definitely does apply, things like coordinates, because a lot of times vacant lots don't have an address. You're kind of out of luck here. Doesn't really give you an option to put that in here. And lots of other stuff like what the property is zoned for, what it can be used for, perk tests, utilities, a lot of stuff like that that you would normally want to know if you're going to buy a vacant lot. Carrot doesn't really give you the options for any of that stuff. And this is probably the biggest instance in this entire experience so far where this is kind of like jumping out at me. Just the fact that like, wow, I can't put a whole lot of land specific stuff in here. And there's certainly ways to work around that. Like, you know, for the address, you could just put the street name and not an address. Usually there's at least a street nearby or a street that goes in front of it. As you can see here for bedrooms and bathrooms, I just left it blank. So it's not like this can't be workable, but it's just something to be aware of. And if you're a house person, then you're in luck because Carrot has pretty much everything that you would want. So now that we have a property in here, let's go back to the main website and let's see if we can see it now. So it looks like it's still got this thing locked here. I think the way we can turn this off is if we go up here and go back here to Grand Land Company and go click on design. And once we get here, essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to change where the link behind this button is pointing. So we don't want it to go to that form that forces people to sign up for anything. What we want to do is go over here to menus. And we're going to click on main navigation. And we're going to take this thing right here where it says see available land. And we're just going to delete the thing. So I'm going to hit remove right here. Now we're going to add a new one to replace it. And the thing that we're going to add is right over here. We're going to click on properties and we want to see all properties. So we're going to bring that right up here. If we want to change what this is going to say, if we don't want it to just say all properties, we could say see our land listings or something like that. If we wanted this to be bold like it was before, there's some code we can put in here. I'll show you how that works. Just put the word strong in brackets followed by strong in brackets like that. Let's go ahead and click publish now. And let's go back and see if it works now. So we're going to go click on this and there we go. Now it brings us to our page with all the listings we have. So far, I've only got one, so there's not a whole lot to see. But if you did have, I don't know, 20 or 50 listings on here, you can sort them based on which ones are newest, which ones are the cheapest to the most expensive, or vice versa. Beds and baths, so that doesn't really apply. I'm not sure if there's a way to remove that or not. I guess you could always ask Carrot support about that. I'm sure they could probably make it work for you. Terms, so if you are offering owner financing, you could only show the ones with seller financing available, and then status. That's pretty much it. That's not everything to know about Carrot, but that's probably like 80% of what you would need to know just to get around and get started and start using your website. I think in general, Carrot offers a lot of value just in terms of simplicity and ease of use. If I had any gripes about it, it would just be that there's certain limitations because of how easy they make it, which is kind of a trade-off that you always have to deal with. Whenever you make something easy, you're going to have to remove certain options and abilities for the user. I think if you're a house person, Carrot is going to work really well for you. If you're a land person, as we just saw here, there's some things about it that are really geared towards houses that don't make hardly any sense for vacant land. And even like with the listings themselves, this can certainly work. Like it checks the box if you just want a home base where you can put your listings and have all that information in one place and build credibility in a website that looks pretty decent. Carrot totally works. If you don't want to learn how to use WordPress and edit themes and all this stuff, I certainly don't. That's when I think Carrot can be a huge value to you. There's also great customer service where people can and will jump in and help you very quickly. And with that kind of help at your disposal, it really can make your website a lot better than if you were just going it alone, trying to use your own WordPress theme. So thanks for watching. Again, RE Tipster does have an affiliate link to Carrot. I'm going to have all those links beneath this video if you want to check it out. And by the way, if you do end up signing up for Carrot, do me a favor and forward your invoice to me at retipsterbonus@gmail.com. That's a special email address I have set up where if you send it to me there, I will send you my free guide to SEO that will give you a whole lot of tips and tricks on how to tune up your website and get yourself a lot more organic traffic. And that's free for you. All you got to do is buy through the RE Tipster affiliate link and forward that invoice to me, and I'll shoot it over to you. Thanks again for watching. Talk to you next time.